Buddy Rose takes 8 ball, gives the guy $650, I think. Whatever it was.
It's too expensive back then.
Yeah, it was. Well,
Wow.
What is it now?
I don't know. I don't do it now. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, straight out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island, where we have the honor and privilege for having on the show for the second time.
Yeah.
Mr. Ken PATERA. Ken, how are you, buddy?
Hey.
Good. Good. How you guys doing?
You could do it all over again. Would you still have been an Olympic weightlifter, or maybe you would have went a different route?
No, I still would have been an Olympic weightlifter. I had 3 older brothers that played football, 2 of them in the NFL. And, people ask me, God, don't you wish you would have played pro football like your brothers? I says, no. I says I was too big, too strong, and too mean. I would have hurt all those guys. I would have ended a lot of careers.
Well, speaking of that, I saw you on the Territories program a couple of weeks ago. Let me ask you something, and I don't know. Do you not like Greg Gagne? You look like you wanted to jump over the table and rip his throat out. I was like, man, PATERA looks pissed off.
Well, he pissed me off. Yeah, we did that. When did we do that? Back in March or April down in Atlanta. And on the way down there, we both live in Minnesota. And so they booked us on the same flight. And he said some off-color jokes, and which kind of pissed me off. And so the next day down in Atlanta, some of that stuff bubbled up. Had nothing to do with us being in the wrestling business. But, just one of those things.
Was the off-color stuff towards you, or just in general about politics or something like that?
No, towards me.
Well, because I kind of felt like it, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I kind of felt like that because obviously that whole McDonald's is a very sensitive subject, and I felt like he was taking shots at you, and I was like, damn, dude. And it looked like you were really getting pissed off at him about that.
Well, that Jimmy Brunzell was the worst.
Uh-oh.
And then Medusa, that douchebag jumps in. What the hell? She wasn't even in the business I think she was in grade school when all that went down. Yeah, she doesn't have a clue what happened.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I forgave them because they're ignorant and stupid, and you know how it is.
Well, who would have known that Brunzell was a big pill dealer too? That was a little shocking news for me.
Really?
Oh yeah, he was a pharmacist. I didn't smoke pot maybe 3 times in my life.
Okay.
And but I was a beer guy. I drank my beer. I remember times that I'd be in a room with 5, 6, 7 guys, and I was so, I think everybody drank beer. doing the other stuff, and Roddy Piper came in, and but I remember that Roddy Piper comes in the room. Buddy Rose is there. Buddy Rose had just sent out for an eight ball of cocaine. Yeah. So about half an hour later, after when Piper comes in, Buddy says, "Well, don't leave. I just ordered an 8-ball." And Rowdy's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. And I'm not kidding, 15, 20 minutes later, here's a knock on the door.
Wow.
Sure enough. This was in
Man.
Somewhere in New Jersey.
Okay. They deliver faster than a pizza place. Nice. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well.
Jeez.
Anyway, this guy comes in. Piper Buddy Rose takes 8-ball, gives the guy $650, I think. Whatever it was.
It's too expensive back then.
Yeah, it was. Well,
wow.
What is it now?
I don't know. I don't do it now. I'm fortunate enough to speak to the unpredictable Johnny Rods last night. I wanted to.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God! It was so great. It was like when we had you in previously, or when we got to speak to Bob Backlund. Being that we grew up in the early '80s, you guys were the kings. So I wanted to ask your opinion on the unpredictable one, Johnny Rods.
Oh, he was a great friend. I wish I would have been able to hang out with him more. Him and his wife, I think her name was Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, I'd have her come up once in a while up to the New York area. And we go out and have dinner and stuff. And Johnny was a great guy. Because we're on, the wrestling business, you wouldn't always be in the same town. You might be 200-300 miles apart. So we could never really get together that much. But we did manage, and Johnny, I really liked him.
Ivan Putski has got this not so great reputation. He's like being very difficult behind the scenes. Is there any truth to that? And how was he with you?
Well, I got along with everybody, but Ivan Putski was really a prick.
Okay.
Yeah, he thought he didn't stink.
Polish prick, huh?
Yeah, and he was just a little guy, all pumped up on steroids. Have you seen him in the past 10 years?
Yeah, he looks.
I didn't even recognize him.
We were talking about age. He looks.
I didn't recognize him.
He looks like he's 100 years old.
Yeah, well, he might be. He's a Polak. You never know.
Oh my God! So there was nothing real to Putski, huh? Because I tell you, as a 12-year-old Mark sitting on my couch, I thought to myself, "Look at the size of this guy." I mean, yes, he was short, but he was just a stack of muscles. I figured he was tough. So much for that, huh, Ken?
Yeah.
Illusion shattered.
I took a cab with him somewhere a couple of years ago. And God, he looked like Mr. Magoo. He.
Oh my God!
I don't think he weighed 150 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, 160 pounds.
Wow. Was that pure? Just like, let's cut to the chase. Was that just pure steroids going on there during his deal? What's the story?
Oh yeah. He was loaded up on steroids.
He shriveled up like a raisinette.
In your opinion, was he as over as he thought he was?
He was pretty over.
He was over. Yeah.
He was pretty over.
Yeah, but he was. Especially in the communities that had a lot of Czechs and Polacks and Swedish,
Killing me here.
Norwegian people, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, he was over, sure.
All right, Ken, here's where the fun starts, all right?
Oh boy.
Listen,
Okay.
growing up, being in the Northeast, right?
Mm.
There were two guys from the AWA, Ventura and Adonis, which I just totally gravitated to,
Oh yeah.
right? And we actually had Adonis's daughter on maybe about 2 years ago.
That's about
And
right.
she recently wrote me and said, due to her being on our show, Dark Side of the Ring is going to do in their next episodes one on Adrian Adonis just off of our interview. So that was, obviously made us pretty happy.
Of course. Sure.
Yeah.
But may I ask you this? How was Adrian personally? Did you like him? Did his reputation? He had a pretty bad reputation as being a bully. What was his deal?
No, he wasn't a bully around me. I liked Adrian. We got along real well. We shared rooms together when we were on the road with the WWF. Yeah, no, Adrian was good. As a matter of fact, him and his wife were moving back to California from Minneapolis, and he couldn't get any. Everybody was working that day, so I went over and helped him load up a trailer out of a little apartment they had. It was on the second floor, so all they had to come from the second floor down to the driveway, and yeah, I spent half a day helping him load his stuff up so they could go back to California, Bakersfield, I think.
Right.
Yeah, Bakersfield, California. So, yeah, I helped Adrian. As a matter of fact, talking about cocaine, I know you guys like to talk about cocaine.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Hold on. I gotta put down my straw first. Go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
I thought you used $100 bill like everybody else.
Yeah. Well, Mike was looking for that earlier. Don't give away my trade secrets.
Yeah,
Come on,
right.
man.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, Adrian and I were sharing a room at Howard Johnson's Motor Inn out there by the Pittsburgh airport.
Oh.
And so...
Hojo's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those still existed back in those days.
Right.
And so anyway, Adrian says, for some reason, I wasn't working that night. I don't know why in the hell... I don't know what the hell happened there. But anyway, he says his cousin was coming down from Buffalo, New York with a birthday present. And he was hoping that he'd get there by 6 o'clock because he had to go downtown Pittsburgh to the arena. And so... I said, "What's your present?" Well, he's bringing me 2 8-balls.
Just the word again.
I said, "Really? Jesus!" And so Adrian and Hot Rod, Roddy Piper.
Roddy again.
Yeah.
Roddy again. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, Piper and Adrian were two of the worst abusers of that cocaine.
Mm.
And so anyway, when Piper, when Adrian got back from the wrestling matches, he said, "Did my cousin make it?" I said, yeah. And where's it at? And I says, "It's in the bathroom." So he goes in there and cracks it open. And then where in the hell we were going down to the bar. So he puts it, instead of bringing it with us, he took the 2 8-balls and put it up into the ceiling. You know those ceiling
Yeah.
panels?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he disconnects the ceiling panel, puts them up in there, and then we went down to this bar. We were down there for about 2 hours. We get back about 1 o'clock in the morning, and he goes, "What did I do with that cocaine, Ken?" And I said, "Well, you put it up in the ceiling panel up there in the bathroom." So he goes up there and he doesn't reach back far enough, and he goes bananas. He punches out 3 or 4 of those tiles and still couldn't find it. So now he's out in the hallway tearing the ceiling panel out of the hallway. I said, "Adrian, you probably didn't reach back far enough." He thought somebody had come in there and stole his cocaine.
Right. Knowing it was in the ceiling. Okay.
Yeah.
What a nut.
And so anyway, I went in there, and I had a chair. I looked up in there, and there it was. So I said, "Adrian, it's right here on the ledge." He was so strung out, boozed up, and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, I said, "Here it is, right here, right where you put it." He said, "Oh." I mean, he was sweating like a pig. And so anyway, I got it out of the ceiling for him, and we sat down, and then his buddies, he came down with 2 buddies from Buffalo, and they wanted to leave and get back to Buffalo. It was already like 1 o'clock in the morning. So they took off.
Unreal.
Adrian says, "You want a line?"
Uh-oh.
I says, "I'll do 1." Well, he lays out a line that was equivalent to about 4. And I said, "Holy Adrian, I'm not going to do all that." So he takes the $100 bill, gets it all rolled up, and he nails that whole thing. And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "You start like Piper does." And he starts laughing. And because Piper did that to me, I had a couple lines about 4 or 5 inches long down in New York one night. So after the matches, they all came back, and I said, "Piper, you want a line?" He says, "Yeah." And well, here I laid out a line that 3 guys could hit on. So he gets it first. He takes the whole thing down. I said, "Holy Rowdy."
Damn.
I first met Rowdy when he was 16 years old. I met him up in Winnipeg, Canada. And he was breaking in. He was working for well, let's back up a minute. He needed a place to live. And so he was talking to Al Tomko. He was the local promoter up in Winnipeg. So Tomko says, "Well, you can stay over at the gym." He had a little cot in the back there. So Piper, 16 years old, he said, "This is what I need you to do. You need to sweep this place out every day and, keep it looking nice." So that was Piper's first job. And so he kept it nice and neat and everything. And that was way before he drank or did drugs. And he would take he'd come out to the ring there in Winnipeg and take back the apparel that guys were wearing to and from the ring. And they pass out towels in the locker room. So he was a good kid. I don't know what happened to him. I saw him 3-4 years later somewhere. God, he was all wound up.
Do you think that all that cocaine use eventually led to his demise at such a young age?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. If he had a weak heart, it probably did, but I don't know of him, having a heart problem because he died in his sleep.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It couldn't have helped. I'm thinking logically, it just couldn't have helped having all that cocaine,
All right.
ripping into his heart.
There's a lot of guys that did a lot of drugs.
Sure, sure.
Like, I don't know if Ultimate Warrior, I don't know if he did cocaine, but he did a lot of other drugs.
Right.
And, and he was younger than Piper. What was he, 56?
He was a young man.
Yep.
A young
He
man.
was young.
Yeah, in his 50s.
Yep.
So let's turn the subject to Jesse Ventura, right? I grew up as a huge Jesse Ventura fan, right? Navy SEAL, governor.
Yeah.
But when did Jesse become such a liberal? And what are your thoughts on Jesse Ventura as a human being, his politics? I was listening to an interview with Hulk Hogan, and obviously those two had problems for a very long time. But Hogan claimed that Jesse was just full of all the time, and he's just a constant liar.
Yeah.
What is Ken Patera's thought on former Governor Jesse Ventura?
I invited him to my birthday party last year.
Okay, so you're good fan, big good friends with him.
Yeah, we've been friends for, I don't know, 30 years. So, I mean, I don't have any problem with Jesse.
Who's more full, Hogan or Ventura?
Oh, probably Ventura.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because Ventura says whatever's on his mind. Yeah, he doesn't give a about anything.
I wanted to ask you, with Jesse's crazy, wild conspiracy theories, is he just working all of us? Does he really believe half the things he says are, conspiracies?
I think he believes everything he says.
Wow. So he's not working us. Very interesting.
Hogan claims that he used to go to Ventura used to go to Plato's retreat, and him and his wife used to do a lot of swinging. Did you hear about that, or is that a bullshit story?
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
Wow.
As far as I know,
okay.
I don't know if they did any swinging.
Right.
Yeah, they'd go there, and what they do there, they take all their clothes off and jump in a swimming pool or whatever they do over there. I've never been there.
Well, let me ask you this: when you were in the WWE in the late '70s, early '80s, did you ever hit Studio 54 or any of those clubs?
Yeah, I did.
Can you tell us some Studio 50? I'm on a Studio 54 kick right now.
What was that?
Can you
place
tell
like?
us some stories about
God.
your time in Studio 54?
Yeah. My wife was in town at the time, and we were wondering what we were going to do that night. And about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a phone call from Vince McMahon. And Vince was wondering if I could take the Wizard, he was my manager at the time, and him down to Studio 54. I says, yeah, I guess I can. I've never been there. But he says, well, with your blonde hair and everything and who you are, they'll let us in. And I said, well, I don't know about that. So anyway, we go down there. The four of us go down there. My wife, and myself, the Wizard, and Vince. So we're standing outside, and Vince says, go up to the door, talk to the doorman, tell him who you are. So I went up there, and the guy knew who I was right away.
Okay.
And this is the kicker. He was playing defensive back for the Seattle Seahawks.
Wait a minute. Your brother's coaching them at that time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And the place was jammed. I mean, just jammed. So now we're out on the dance floor. And Vince wants to go upstairs in the balcony. And I said, what? And so the Grand Wizard, my manager, he says, Vince, you don't want to go up there. And he said, why not? He says, there's going on up there. Everybody is up there smoking pot and snorting cocaine, popping pills, and he said half of them are queer. And so you know what they're doing up there. And Vince said, oh, God, I didn't know that. And I had heard, what goes on up there. So we're standing by the dance floor. We never did get a table. And we're standing by the dance floor. And I'm going over about every 15 minutes and getting drinks. God, I couldn't believe it. I went over there. I said, I got a scotch and water. And whoever got the other stuff, so I got all the drinks. So the bartender, he fills that glass up right to the, damn near to the brim with scotch and puts a squirt of water in there. I said, that's the way I like it.
There you go.
Well, basically, it was straight scotch. I had 4 of those, and then Vince is out there on the dance floor, boogie woogie with my wife, and he thinks he's a great dancer, and so he's out there dancing with her, and she wanted to dance too. So, and I had a bum knee, and so I didn't want to dance. So, and then they get back to the sidelines there. We were just standing along the dance floor. So here the Grand Wizard lights up a marijuana cigarette.
Nice.
The Wizard.
Yeah, but right there on the dance floor.
The Wiz.
The Wizard waving his marijuana wand. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. Yeah. All right.
So he asked my wife if she wants some.
Wow.
So she took a toke.
Okay.
And then Vince, he took a toke.
Vince took a toke.
And so they passed that.
We're talking senior though, right? Not junior.
No, junior.
No, that's a junior.
Oh, this is junior.
That's
Okay.
just not senior. Junior. Yeah, junior.
No, senior would never do that.
No, I can't see that either. So Vince McMahon Jr. has no issue with marijuana? Is that what you're telling me?
He smokes all the time.
Get the frig out of here. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, I got to ask you, too. You got to clear this up because I got this image. Was the Wizard with his turban and his glasses dancing on that floor?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can't get it out of my head. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
Oy.
Right.
Okay, so everybody got stoned from Wizard's wand. Wow.
Are you wearing a pair of Capezios at this moment?
Capezios.
Do what?
Are you wearing a pair of Capezios?
That's a shoe. It's a type of shoe. I remember.
No, I'm just wearing my slippers right now.
Not
No,
right now.
You're at Studio 54.
On the dance floor,